Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Sunday Punch podcast. But we're here with Matt Wolff, and I think we're going to try and do a monthly show, kind of similar to that of PTI, where we have, a very specific subject matter that we're going to talk about for a few minutes. Usually, I like to go off the cuff and talk about random shit for an hour, but I think some format would be nice on a monthly basis. So. We're going to think about it. We've got all the subjects queued up. They'll be at the bottom of the screen if you're watching of any subjects that are coming up next. But I did want to start first of all, sorry. How are you, Matt? Haven't talked to you in a
Great.
while.
I'm doing great. I'm Dave Matthews. Last night we tailgated at noon, and just a good day.
Where was that at?
West Palm, I think, amphitheater.
Okay. I thought you were saying, I think it was an amphitheater, but it's just called I Think Amphitheater. Okay.
I think
Still good? Dave's still good?
Dave is so we go every year. It's the best I think it's the best non-sports tailgate, and his good is very good and his bad is bad. Like if you're not a real Dave fan, which we're not, we want to hear all the hits, which he doesn't play a lot of, 5 or 6 hits, and then these other songs we're just joking around like, do these people like this? I don't know, but he plays 2 nights in a row. There, he's playing again tonight. I have a pass that I'm selling. Just one night was enough, but he's good. He's high energy. If you like that music, it's great.
Fun fact: he was at Woodstock '99. Did you know this?
At 99, no, I did not. But that's
Dave Matthews was there. Who wasn't as famous, but he was there. I was reading about it in the New York Times.
Well, that's a good segue. Look, you're great at this already. With the
I know it's a great segue. After a year of podcasting, I've gotten a little bit better at this. Let's segue. Great documentary on Netflix called Woodstock '99. What's the subhead? Like chaos or?
Oh, it was Trainwreck, which you got to call it Trainwreck on there, and that's how many shows do you watch where you're like, that title doesn't make any sense? They couldn't have come up with a better title.
No, it was. I actually didn't know any of that happened, which is weird because you would have thought like I had gotten some sort of wind of it. I mean, I was 9 at the time, so I wouldn't know about it then, but you would think like then growing up through high school, there'd been like, oh, remember, historically Woodstock '99.
I have friends who went there. He thinks his voice is on at the end. He wasn't like destructive or anything, but he was there. And what are like the takeaways for you? Like the top 3 takeaways or
top 3 takeaways were much like the Fire Festival, lack of planning when it comes to music festivals is always the lack of planning and profit.
But the guys who didn't make the decision knew. I mean, they talk about at the beginning. He said this is going to be a disaster, and no one listened. That's a lesson. Like maybe listen to the people who know and who've done this shit before.
Right. Lack of planning, which to me includes the lack of security, the lack of preparation with the water, the lack of preparation with the bathroom situation. So that's all in one bullet point for me. Next would be genre of music that they chose. When I heard that lineup, I was just like that guy. I was like, as soon as they said Korn and Limp Bizkit, I was like, that's not good. 230,000 people who are coming for the headliners, which are Korn and Limp Bizkit. That's a very certain segment of culture. Although at that point in time, wasn't that just kind of the overall music culture anyway?
Yeah, they were big, but there was there was a mix. If you go through the whole lineup, there was a good mix of artists. So you can't have a festival that's celebrating everything without those type of artists. So I don't know. I mean, that's to me, that's a little bit Monday morning quarterbacking. The other thing that stood out for me was, forget about the lack of planning, the lack of empathy for the fans and the people there, because once they knew, they had to have known what was going on, and they could have done some stuff to fix it. It didn't seem like they cared to do that. Just say, let's get through this, and then they're talking to the press like, it reminds me of the Naked Gun when Leslie Nielsen is, the memes, like he's standing there and like there's nothing to see here, and all the bombs are like, that's basically what they're doing at this press conference.
That was my third takeaway, is the lack of caring, even in the interviews years and years later, by not everyone, but I forget the main guy's name, who's basically the guy who's like, well, look, we're here to make money, blah, blah, blah. And then like afterwards, like basically he was like, oh, it's Fred Durst, or is that his name? Fred Durst, did Limp Bizkit's lead singer? Yeah, it was his fault for not, calming the crowd. Oh, it's like a small city, rapes are gonna happen. Like that guy was like a complete
Michael Lang, the producer of it, who brought
not Michael Lang.
He's the one he passed away this year. You mentioned the rape. To just say that casually is so, I don't even know what the word to describe it is, but I have to imagine that this sort of thing does happen at almost every festival. You got young women who are drinking too much and young guys who are, there's got to be some type of sexual assault, but probably not in the manner like this is like, hey, open up this thing. And I mean, that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, well, I guess he's got a point with that many people, but I was like, but your security was proven to be not good, and you hired a bunch of kind of guys that had no security background, and there's 230,000 people. The problem is they're trying to make it like Woodstock. Okay, 1960. When was the first Woodstock? 69. And so they're trying to make it like that with the flower power, and music and culture had changed, and it was more violent. And so to be like, oh, we don't need that much security because, the Woodstock back in the day was so nice and, everybody's peace and love. Like these guys were listening to songs that are saying break something.
Yeah. More, you know what? And I don't know this for sure, but less marijuana, more alcohol.
Yes.
Is that a factor? Probably.
Yes.
People are all high, and I've never smoked in my life, but if you're high, you're not in the same rage as if you're drinking.
Right. Speaking of rape, Deshaun Watson I had at the bottom coming up next. So let's talk about Deshaun here.
He didn't rape. He wasn't accused of raping. He was accused of sexual misconduct, right?
I would like to clip this and play it on repeat for everyone. Deshaun Watson apologist Matt Wolff.
Oh, I'm not. I think he should. I think they should not let him play. That's my thing. But the part for me is the hypocrisy of it. Like let's get something standard. The other thing that I have a problem with is that they let the Browns sign him to a contract that was so back-laden, knowing he was going to get in trouble, that it's such a small part of his salary.
That was my main takeaway. He's actually only losing $500,000 because the first year is nothing, and so the game checks that he's losing, I think it comes out to $500,000.
Well, they fined him $5 million, but he should lose a year's worth of salary, which is 30. It's like $30 million. I think he shouldn't be played. I think he's not guilty of anything yet, but that's a lot. That's Bill Cosby. There's no way that he didn't do inappropriate things. I think he should be gone for a year. Let's figure it out. Let this stuff go. At the minimum, he should lose whatever the salary was. Don't let them get away with doing that front load contract because they knew it was happening. They normally wouldn't do it that way, but they knew it was happening, so they did that.
23 of the 24 women have settled. One just So here's the problem. All of the massage therapists had to be new each time. That was what the New York Times article said. And didn't have to have much experience in massage therapy. Those are the two prerequisites for Deshaun Watson. So
it's bad behavior. It was definitely
bad behavior. I do also believe in forgiveness. So let the man come back. But yeah, I agree. 1 year was what it should have been.
I think anything less than a year was. We don't know. That's the whole thing. We don't know yet.
Yeah, and well, I mean, he didn't play all last year too. I would like to say the Houston Texans wouldn't allow him to play last year.
Wasn't he injured?
No.
That was just because of this?
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, I mean, we're not going to feel bad for Deshaun Watson. That's the first thing I'd like to. I'm not gonna feel bad for Deshaun Watson, regardless if he never plays NFL again.
Right, but do you feel bad? Speaking of suspensions, about Tatis Jr.
From the information I know, his father put something out there that shows that the name of the illegal thing is right on there. And by the way, you can't get this in the U.S. If I'm an athlete like Tatis Jr., who any professional athlete, my whole life is on the line to know don't put anything that a doctor doesn't tell you to do. I don't feel bad for him. I don't believe this story. It's very unlikely that it just you can't do it.
So he tested positive for the anabolic steroid clostebol, I believe is how you pronounce it. Been a rough couple of weeks for him, actually. He not a couple of weeks, just a full rough year. He signed a 14-year, $340 million extension in February. Got into a motorcycle accident, so was injured, couldn't play. Then he's got this positive test, so not the best investment there.
You can't take something unless your team doctor and it's like you double check and quadruple check. My friend made an interesting point, which I disagree with. Let's see what you think. He thinks that Tatis is tainted for the rest of his career in the same way. He'll never make the Hall of Fame. I said if he goes clean the rest of his 10, 15 years and has Hall of Fame numbers, he's fine. Different than A-Rod because we don't know how long A-Rod was cheating. He could have been cheating for 20 years. For Tatis, we would have known at the most it's like 2-3 years whenever he was. That's my feeling on it. I think he'll be fine, but I don't feel bad for him.
No, that's an interesting point. I guess I didn't think about it like that. I kind of agreed with your friend's take, but yeah, I guess if he goes clean from here on out and still has Hall of Fame numbers, it's going back to the forgiveness thing. But you know how those guys are at the Baseball Hall of Fame. They don't let anything go.
Well, they'll all be new. That's a home. They'll all be new voters by the time he's,
50, right. But like, is it like a fraternity where it's like, we do it this certain way? Okay, man, you're going to push the onion with your nose. We've done it that way for 100 years. You're going to keep doing it.
The trend has been going. These people have been getting more votes as the other ones are losing their new voters. They've been getting more new votes, not enough to get in. I think they all should be in. You want to write that what they did, that's fine. But put them all in the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose. The Hall of Fame is not a Hall of Fame without Pete Rose in it. I don't care what he did. He's
a bad guy too.
He's terrible, terrible guy.
I think he also sexually assaulted a 14-year-old.
Listen, I'm not going to make that accusation. He's one of the best players in the history.
What's wrong with these guys? So not a good investment for the San Diego Padres.
That'll be fine too. They'll lose 1 year in it, and
sure,
people are going to buy. They're going to support him. They're going to feel they're not going to do bad financially for it.
Yeah. Speaking of investments, LeBron James given a nice extension here in LA, but doesn't really do much for the Lakers. If I'm a Lakers fan, who thinks it's a good idea to win, championships, giving LeBron James is just an extension of mediocrity. And, it's tough decisions have to be made in organizations. I don't think
they care. They won with him, right? I don't think they care. They're not, it's a good investment financially, but they're not going to win with him in the next year or two. And they'll have him play with his son, right? And that'll be must-watch TV, and then when he's done, they'll go try and win championships again. It's not about the championships. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Well, here's where I disagree with you, because it is LA. This is a storied franchise, and I'll just leave you with this. Arguably the greatest owner in team sports, Dr. Jerry Buss, had a dilemma one time when he had to choose from two popular future Hall of Famers. He made the hard choice. He got rid of Shaq. And this week, we're reminded how much we miss the good doctor, because he would have gotten rid of LeBron.
Yeah, and I the one thing I'll say about the Lakers, I don't understand the hatred for Westbrook. First of all, I thought he had a good year. I don't think it's his fault that they couldn't win. That's my feeling.
I could go on forever. This is the LeBron James segment. It's not the Russell Westbrook segment. He's terrible. He gets paid $50
Will
million.
Will they be a contender with
terrible?
LeBron?
I don't want to get into it. No, there won't be a contender. No, they won't. They won't even win. Like, I mean, they'll get into like the 7th or 8th seed.
Yeah, they'll make the playoffs this year. They're not going to miss the playoffs again.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
I would bet money that they're going to make the playoffs.
I mean, if you look at their roster, they have LeBron James.
I got Davis.
Okay.
Sure. And they got Westbrook. As much as you hate him.
Basketball in forever.
All right.
I should have done the wait. Let me reorder some stuff here, because I think now. Well, yeah. What's that? Brittney Griner coming up next because of basketball and that segue. I don't really have much to add on this other than it sucks for her. I like how all the politicians that were putting, people in jail here for marijuana usage for years and upon years are now the ones who are having to fight back of a stupid rule where you get thrown in prison in Russia for having marijuana on your luggage. Yeah. So now you got Kamala Harris, who probably personally imprisoned thousands of disenfranchised people for minor marijuana busts, saying, "Can you believe what Russia's doing?"
Well, I think the point that they're trying to make is that it's very obviously a political thing that they made it. If it was Joe Schmo or Jane Doe, they wouldn't have arrested her. They wouldn't have cared. It wouldn't be a big deal. Here's my quick thoughts on this. Again, I mentioned before, I've never smoked anything in my life.
You've never done marijuana?
No, never smoked.
Never eaten something that had marijuana in it?
Never.
Never thought about it?
Not really.
Never were in a circle of people and someone's like, "Hey, you want to hit this?"
Yeah, all the time. I got offered.
And you said, and you were never tempted.
I pass on grass.
Okay.
All the time.
Still all the time?
Yeah.
You're still getting offered?
Yeah, I'm still getting offers. I got offers yesterday at Dave Matthews if I wanted a gummy.
That makes sense.
Here's the thing I'll say. As someone who's never smoked, I think the laws are the laws. I always say this, so I'm going to stay across. It's not that hard to follow laws. You break the law, you have to have the punishment. The punishment should fit the crime, and the punishment should be strong enough to deter you from doing more crime. Smoking marijuana is not a huge crime unless you're trying to deal it to a lot of people. So once we bring her back, and they will bring her back, they're going to trade him for the guy, Victor Boot, who's, by the way, an arms dealer. Go watch the movie War Dogs. It's a terrible thing that they're trading Brittney Griner, who had nothing, for this dude and the other guy, Paul. So, but once this happens, immediately, it should be a national law, needs to be put in order that marijuana is okay. And also, let's let some people out of jail who were like caught smoking a joint. That's my feeling. And because to put it on the state, that's a dumb thing. And we're making this big push about it. And I'm not even a big fan of saying legalize it, but if it's going to be legal in this state and that state, just make it legal everywhere. It's not one of those per states kind of thing. I do truly believe that it was an accident. I truly believe that it was an accident for her and she didn't realize. It was so little. I think it was an accident. But I do think that she, look, 10 years is ridiculous. If they would have said 1 year and come home, okay, I don't think anyone would have fought it. That's their law. You did it. You broke it. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's got to be weird. I'm just like picturing like with the American mindset of being like, no, you're going to Russian prison.
Yeah. I would never go to Russia. I hear it's beautiful. I would never step foot in Russia. There's no chance.
Have you heard it? I'm reading a book called Tiger right now, where it makes Russia seem like the worst place you could possibly go on Earth. And I was
there's a lot of good. If you're a traveler, it would be a very interesting and good place to visit. But I wouldn't take the chance who knows? I mean, I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't go to South Korea, North Korea.
What about Africa?
Yeah, I'd go to Africa. Sure.
Okay. I don't know. I'm half on Africa. It's just like a lot of wildlife that.
Yeah, well, I mean, look.
Like, I don't want to get stung by like a bug and then my like head explodes. My buddy just went there, so it was a great time. Okay, let's stop talking about basketball. College football. By the way, I'm so ready for football to be back. I can't stand. I got my Orioles hat on. Go Orioles! Yeah, it's doing great. I've watched a lot of Orioles games, probably 80% of the games this year. Boring. And then, we got just like basketball free agent drama with Kevin Durant, which is kind of interesting. But man, am I ready for football? I've been prepping my fantasy picks. I've been looking at the Bears roster. I've been looking at the Ravens roster. I'm ready. Problem is, I'll be I'll be back for the first game. I'll be in Brazil. We can talk about that later. But go ahead.
I'll be in Gainesville for the opener for Napier. So I'm very excited about that. The top 10 team coming, new coach. There's a lot of excitement with the Gators. They came on strong with their recruiting. We don't win recruiting championships, but the future is looking good. And now he's got to win. And Richardson has a chance to prove, how good he is. So I think there's a lot of reason to be optimistic in Gainesville right now. And
yeah,
it's still tough, the SEC. You got to get through Georgia and then maybe through Alabama. And there's some other high profile. I found it funny. Was it Feinbaum who said something about Notre Dame? How are they ranked top 10?
Yeah, I agree. I say that every year.
Yeah, I say it every year too. I'm like, they're like, it's ridiculous. And I know you will maybe talk about this next time, but the Manti Te'o documentary, which is a must watch.
I'm gonna watch it. I'll watch it tonight. Dude, you told me to watch Woodstock. I mean, it was 3 hour episodes. So
this is only like 2 1-hour episodes. It's just crazy. Like, you think you know the story, and then you watch this, and you're like, it blows your mind. But even then, like, they had no business being in that championship game, and they got their ass kicked. They just don't. It's just join a conference, all right. And then with this alignment, I don't like this alignment in college football. I don't like what the portal and NIL has done to college football. We'll see how it really affects this season. The one thing that could be good that comes out of alignment is that Notre Dame has to join a conference.
That is good.
Yeah.
Now everyone can see that they suck.
Yeah, and I have no predictions. I have no predictions.
I don't either. It's all I have a prediction for the future. You know why? Because the Gators had a $90 million renovation, and it looks dope for the football team. Recruiting is going to be so much easier now. The Gators are going to be really good in the future.
Yeah.
All the players with the cool videos of them above their lockers.
No excuses. That's the thing. You have the players. There'll be no excuses. Any excuse that you thought might have been valid, it'd be like, no, there's no excuses. But I'm going to be in Gainesville for the opener. Then the next week I'm going to be in Cincinnati for the season opener against the Steelers, the Bengals. I hope Burrow is
cool.
is healthy by then. And football. Look, what can you say? Football is right. It's like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So it's nuts now. But it'll be fun.
I mean, until proven otherwise, go with Alabama.
I would bet against. I think this year, I'm not going to make a prediction, but I would bet against the top. I would bet against Bama. I would take the field if you give you Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, and I'll take the field. I would take the field this year.
Oh, you just listed like the major powerhouses.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the top 3, and I'll take the field. I think if someone will come out of nowhere and win it all this year.
Okay. How much you want to bet?
I don't know, $1, $2.
This guy did you play fantasy football?
I don't. I played fantasy football probably before you were born.
That must have been fun.
I played fantasy football.
Going through the newspaper, writing down the stats.
On Monday, we used to have to get the paper and write out the scores.
Oh.
We had no idea if we were winning. We had an idea like, hey, we had a good week. but we had no idea. Now it's like you're watching this game, you're like, this guy needs 6 yards.
I thought I wasted time, like currently doing fantasy
Oh, you
football. If
are.
I had to grab the paper and then
It was better because you didn't. It was better.
let me tell you one thing. I'm not wasting time. And I have to explain this to everyone that I talk to. I am in a league that it's more of a religion than it is some sort of like fun time. And also, us 10 people probably would have drifted apart in life, which is always sad when you lose your friends. We are gelled together. We talk every day on group chat.
No, I
So
think it's
that
good. I agree.
that portion is why it's totally worth it.
I
Like,
agree
and then
with that.
people, when I tell them what the buy-in is, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Wait a second. Extrapolate it out for the entire, NFL season, and it's like you're paying a monthly membership to, whatever, like
Do you?
to get your groceries delivered. It's like, what's the difference between that and having fun? Do you
I
spend $100 a week going out for drinks and dinner? So what
no,
the fuck?
I
What does it matter about what my fun level is?
I agree with you on that. Do you penalize the person who comes in last?
Yeah, we have 5 punishments
Yeah,
for the person that comes in last. They
Yeah.
have to wear the winner's designated jersey at the next draft. They have to sing the national anthem at the draft itself. They have to have a license plate that says "I suck at fantasy football." And then the fourth thing is, they have to come on the podcast, and the rest of the group gets to ask whatever questions they want, which they really enjoyed last year, so it's added in as a yearly punishment.
I retired. I was too biased, like the teams I hate, and then it was too much. And then I'm a much bigger college football fan, but I retired probably about a decade ago. I now just do like a survivor pool and a pick 'em. For me, that's more fun.
College football is better because of the nostalgia, and you're remembering, like, one of the best moments of your life. And so now that's connected to college football.
You could do a college football fantasy. My friends do a SEC Big Ten.
Lame. But I would admit I probably wouldn't be that into the NFL without fantasy football.
Well, there you go.
I'll watch a Raiders-Bengals game on like a Thursday night, no problem.
Oh, that should be a good game this year.
If I got a player in it, like, yeah, it will be a good game. It's a bad example. All right. Speaking of college football, Trump showed up to an Alabama game last year. So let's talk. I know you want to talk Trump, and I think I'm going to surprise you with my point on this.
Oh, the only thing I have to say is I don't know how this guy's not in jail yet. I just don't. It's like, I know it's a political thing. Everyone thinks that people are piling on him. Man, you ever have those things like, hey, if I did that at my job, it would be over. And his whole team is just, it's incredible how many people are still like defending him, knowing
it's a cult, dude. It's a cult now.
It really is. But they're knowing that the ship is going down, hoping that he's not going to bring him with him. The thing that annoys me is, for 5 years, all we get is, oh, gotcha. There's all these gotcha moments. I'm like, dude, call me when they do something. Because even all this stuff, if they don't do anything to them, it's like, all right, who cares?
Well, it depends on what they found. I've been reading the Wall Street Journal, and I can't find anything that
forget about the raid, the January 6th thing. I mean, I can name you 20 things that this guy belongs in jail for.
Well, the January 6th thing also, they've already said, like, to be like, if you think he's going down for that, he's not, because a lot of the Democrats have already said we can't really do anything here. We're just holding this to hold him accountable in the court of public opinion.
There was no reason for them to have extra boxes when they've already given up boxes, and these people, I can't imagine they find nothing. But look, if they find nothing, then let's just move on from this guy. I don't.
Well, I that's my point. It's like, I'm so tired of all this, and he's, I've read so many books about Trump at this point. He's not a good guy. He's always been a con artist.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to I think he's funny. I would hang out with the man. I actually think he's like entertaining, and I think he's charismatic, and that's why I tend to like him. But as far as the presidency goes, let's move on. I'm tired. I'm tired of the people fighting with each other, and it's like he's so polarizing that he's just gonna he'll win again.
I said
he will if they don't throw him in jail or something and he runs.
I can't imagine any scenario in which he wins again.
He's winning all polls right now.
I don't know.
He's the one thing I'll say, him and DeSantis, dude, and DeSantis, you know how popular DeSantis is.
I think he might lose. DeSantis could lose in Florida here come November.
Trump's 80% more popular than DeSantis. A little bit.
The thing about Trump, I understand how you feel about that. The thing that would change for me is if you're a bad person, you're like a douchebag, or you do all this, and it's fine. I might want to hang out with you, but now once he became president and all this other stuff, now I wouldn't even be able to be in a room with him. But if he had never been president, then I could see like, yeah, I'd like to hang out with this guy, play around the golf.
I brought that up. Like I would sit down with Adolf Hitler, though. Like it's like too historical of him.
Though. You're trying to figure out like
so you wouldn't be doing the same thing with Trump?
Trump is not Hitler, but Trump is. It's such a different comparison. But Trump,
it's like a historical figure. I'd sit down with anyone. Like I brought this up at a dinner party, and they're like, "No, I would leave this dinner party." I'm like, dude, like. Genghis Khan could walk in here and I'm not leaving, like just because like I'm interested to hear about like how they think and
yeah, I think I understand how there's a difference between being like a narcissist and then thinking, okay, well, 6 million Jews need to die. I can't.
That is the distinction.
Yeah, there's a little
which a lot of people don't quite get.
Yeah, there's a big distinction. Like I think he'll go down as, but you talked about
he won't go down as the worst president, dude. Let's just go ahead. First of all, we had Franklin Pierce.
Yeah, I'm saying in our lifetime, but but I want to tie it back to Woodstock. The empathy that they didn't show, that's what kills me about Trump, the way he treats people. So that's, for me, I can't get around that.
Yeah. No, I mean, care how every president.
When you're Donald Trump, the reality star, I don't care how you treat people. When you're Donald Trump, the president, now I care how you treat people.
Right. I agree. I also think every president's a complete psychopath. So to me, it's like they're all just like that. Like he's just the worst at hiding it.
Yeah, no, I think there's very few people people have to be a certain way. They have to be PC. Just all politicians at some point have to try and, if you're just trying to please everyone, you're going to have to not be honest to everyone at some point. So, but I think it's beyond that. But I say let's lock them up or fucking get them out of the forever. Like say you can't do this or move on. But I don't want to hear, if this doesn't stick, then anything else anyone says about him for the rest, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm just like, all right, cool.
Yeah, and it'll be weird because he will win if he runs again.
All
right, so moving on to complete narcissist, let's talk about the WeWork CEO who just got I think it was $350 million deal for something that's very similar to like real estate. And it's like,
it's in the housing, like underdeveloped housing. The guy, he got $350
Adam Newman, by the way, is the WeWork, the former WeWork CEO. Another great documentary to watch on one of the streaming platforms.
The big takeaway that I have is, CEOs, the rich getting richer, rewarding people for a massive failure. And I'm not talking about if someone failed a while ago, because people like Elon Musk and even Trump, like they fail, they go success, but it's so new. And it's very similar. And then you got the other people like, hey, there's women out there. It's another female thing. Like no women they don't get funding for their stuff. And these people just throw this stuff at this guy. And meanwhile, if it crashes, it doesn't mean anything to him, right? Because it's like you're working on other people's money.
Right.
It's just a crazy it's crazy because he was so successful with WeWork for so, he built it to this great idea. And this might be a great idea. But how someone gives him 350 million. The other thing that brings out to me is people have way too much. Some people have just way too much money. Let's try and figure out a way to have it be useful.
Yeah, no, that would be good. But when you read like books that focus on the macroeconomics of things, you actually need like people to be downtrodden. It's sad, but you can't just like invest in education because then that's too many smart people. You only want a certain amount of smart people because you don't want like revolutions and stuff.
But I don't think that sounds like fantasy stuff to me.
Because no, it's not. It's not because like a revolution these days is not the same revolution from back in the day. It's not people like running up to the tower with like spears. It's like, we're going to start a revolution on, with cryptocurrency technology, or we're going to destroy the infrastructure.
That's another scam. Not all of it, but there's how many people are losing their ass. And
that's investing. The technology itself, though, is like when you can figure out how to destroy infrastructure because you don't like how society's working. That's a revolution. So that's why they don't want too many smart people.
Yeah, well, the crypto in our lifetime, I don't think it's going to become backed by the government, and it's going to be like it's not going to ever be like the dollar. I don't think they'll get to that. And part of the reason
the government's interested in it because then you can add social status.
Right, that's fine. But the whole hoax thing and the fraudulent stuff is probably hurting the chances of it being more legit and mainstream, I think. But you can take $350 million and build. There's so much you can do. If I had $350 million to spend to make the world, the U.S. a better place, it's better than investing in this guy's company.
Yeah, public school education would be the first step there.
I would revamp the whole education because there's a lot of people who are educated who are not that smart. A lot of people who never went through.
Yeah, school. You should revamp the educational system. Yeah. But again, it goes back to the whole thing. But so he's gonna take $350 million, and
will he be successful?
He's gonna go on.
Will he be successful?
Well, it depends what you think of successful. He's already successful.
Well, will he be a success with this new company?
I haven't read enough about the business model to know.
Yeah, I would say there's a chance he won't. And the funny thing is, or crazy thing is, if it doesn't, will someone else invest in him again?
The problem is, I don't know the business model of this certain venture, but from watching the documentary is he's not focused on, to me, what a business person should be focused on, which is, okay, how do I keep everyone happy? I'm talking about WeWork. How do I keep everyone happy while also making the most profit that I can? And that's the equal balance. Whereas he was just so focused on, hey man, we're going to be like living together and this is going to be our life. And like, it's called We Life. And it's like, and his wife is like this, like spiritual, like guru, which is always a bad sign. And it's like, I don't know. I'd rather my guy who I give $350 million to be more focused on profitability than changing the world, man.
Well, on a similar subject, do you know who Dan Price is of Gravity Payments, the $70,000 CEO?
No.
Well, he owned this company, Gravity Payments, and he said, hey, the CEO shouldn't be making this much money. The company, the people should be in a better environment. They should be making. So he dropped his salary and said the minimum salary at his company is going to be $70,000. Everyone who works there makes $70,000 or more. And he was in the press, and that's his social media is like, again, railing against the CEOs and mainstream in the corporate world. And now he just had to resign through his behavior. I don't know if it was sexual in nature, but it was definitely a volatile environment that people said. And so he had to resign. It's just like, is there anyone who's going to be like, who are the Saints? The good, like Tim Tebow, is that it? Is Tebow like? Did you see the Mr. Rogers documentaries? That guy he was a saint. There's never going to be anyone like him again in this world. And if you ever found dirt on him, I couldn't believe it was true. Somebody would have to make it up.
I thought that was a good movie. That was with Tom Hanks, right?
Well, there was two of them, but the Tom
Oh,
Hanks one was great, and there was another one, and it's
because
just
it
like,
showed a little bit of like the, well, the quote unquote darker side of Mister Rogers. But you know, he was a human. It showed that he was human.
yeah,
Like he like got sad sometimes, and
yeah.
you know, it
No,
wasn't like all rainbows and sunshine. So I was like, yeah, that was a good movie.
look,
But
we
no,
all want to.
those people don't see. This is the problem with the presidencies and the CEOs. That like that psychology that drives that person to go to that point is only a certain psychology, and that psychology cannot also be equal with being good. You
Yeah,
can't. You're a complete maniac egotist. That's what drives people.
Well, how about me and Ticket Time Machine? I aim for Ticket Time Machine to be $1 billion company.
But by the time you got there, you would have changed.
I'm going to change to the point where I become a bad person
Yes, if you get it
and
to $1
do bad
billion,
things.
you will have to have done a lot of bad things to get
I
there.
don't agree with that. I'm going to prove that wrong, but I don't agree. I think sometimes people do change when they get that, but I think you don't have to. I just think people are lazy, and then they are like, they think they're above the law, and they think it's not going to happen to me, right? As you point
Mhm.
fingers at, hey, can you believe that happened to this person? And then, bam, they're on the front page. So,
I don't know. Absolute power
but this
corrupts.
guy doesn't care. He's WeWork. He made a ridiculous amount of money. He has a documentary on him. He doesn't have to do anything for the rest of his life, and it won't matter anymore. And that's a very dangerous position to put people in.
Right. Yeah, I agree. If I did have that much money, I would definitely do more summer vacations. So let's talk about any summer vacation plans you got coming up. I'm going to Brazil at the end of the month for 10 days.
Where have you been? You've been before, because you talk about it, right?
I have been to Brazil before. It was right after I had met. So I went to Canada with a buddy, and he met his future wife, who was Brazilian in Canada. And then she invited us to visit her family in Brazil. And you know, knowing me, I took her up on that offer, and so did my buddy, and we went. And now they're getting married in Rio all this time later. They've actually already been married. This wedding was supposed to happen 3 years ago, but you know, there's some sort of like pandemic or something.
So you're going to the wedding in Brazil,
Yes, in Rio.
and you wrote about. I know you wrote an article because I read, or I had
Yeah.
it to read. What was the takeaway from that article?
Brasileiro was a 19-page memoir of my times in Brazil, and the takeaway.
Are you going to write another one?
That's the takeaway for you, man. If once you read it, if you read it again, the takeaway is different for each person.
Yeah. Are you going to write another one for this trip?
Yes, I am.
I've never been to Brazil. It's on my list, but my list is very long. It's not as high on my list as a lot of other places. I'm going to Outer Banks for a family vacation next week, and from there I drive down to Gainesville to be for the first game, and then fly out to Cincinnati for my sports weekend trip with my bros. 21st year we're doing it. I was in Vegas. I was in Canton. I was in New York. I was all over the place this summer. But these trips are going to be they're going to be pretty good. Looking forward to them.
Yeah, that sounds dope. I don't really have anything after that though.
Well, it's football.
It's football. Once football starts, it's like who has time for vacations unless it's football based. New Orleans could be a good one.
Yeah, go. You don't go travel at least one game to see football anymore?
Yes, I do, and I'm trying to figure out which game to go to this year for the Gators. I don't know. I'm gonna be working remotely all in November and December, so I was thinking maybe I'll do the although I think it's in Tallahassee this year, the Florida FSU game.
I know they moved it to the Thanksgiving weekend. I'm always in New Jersey. I will be in Arizona in February for the Super Bowl.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I need to look at the schedule some more. I don't know about Gainesville. I love going back there though. Although it is weird now.
It's very built
different.
up. It's built up.
Very different.
So built up. Yeah. I go get my Hogans.
Is that still there?
Oh yeah. Well, they lost one location, but the original. It's I almost maybe once I did, but I never go to Gainesville without getting Hogan's. So
Here's a question: have you ever gone on like a vacation just like alone?
yeah, sure. I traveled to Europe by myself.
Wow.
Key West by myself.
Was that like trippy? The first time?
The first time no, I think. Look, I'm a type of person who wants to do what I want to do. It'd be great if people want to join me, but if they're not, it's not going to stop me from going on vacation, from going to a game, going to eat, going to a movie, going to a concert, and you name it. I've done it by myself because I'm just not going to miss out on something that I can't find people to go with. Right. I prefer to go with people.
Right. I was just because I was thinking, I was like, man, that'd be kind of weird to go. Like, I was thinking about it. Like, so knowing that you've done it, I need another person to.
No, I mean, if you're a single guy too, I would recommend it completely. I think.
Yeah.
You could find everywhere you go. If you're an outgoing guy, you'll find people that will just there'll be people you're like, yeah, this is cool. Let's come hang out with us. We're going to do this. So I would recommend it. I would recommend doing anything. Like, life is so short. We never know when we're going to get a chance to do something. So just do it. Like, stop thinking about it. Just plan it.
Yeah,
and go.
Right. Well, I might do that. I'm waiting for some buddies to hit me up, but I wanted to go to a Ravens game this year, and I was thinking October 23rd to see the Cleveland Browns, but Deshaun Watson will not be playing. So, but I was like, October 23rd is cooler there. That's fine. Like, I don't want to go like any past that.
Yeah, that's not even a vacation. I mean, that's a trip. That's more of a trip than like a vacation.
Oh, you're talking about like a full week.
I was in Europe.
Well, you're in Europe.
I was in Europe for 3 weeks. My sister
that would scare the fuck out.
My sister met me in Italy. She met me in Italy, so the last part of it I was with her. But I was in Belgium, Prague, Amsterdam, Berlin, and Munich before I met her.
Wow.
Yeah, I stayed in hostels too. It was crazy. Look, you get to go and do what you want when you want.
Did you have those booked, or do you just like find them?
I did have them booked, but you can, if I went again and was ever going to do that, which I don't think I ever would because I don't have to anymore. But
yeah,
you don't have to. I would book maybe some, and then you'd have to keep like some because you want to have like, hey, I want to stay here an extra night. You'll find a place. It's not you're not going to not find a place. But yes, I did have them booked.
Interesting.
And they were weird. So I was in one hostel. I was with like 7 women or girls. I don't know, but you're not there all day. I just showed up at night.
Yeah, you just show up and
embarrassing.
That's how you make new friends too.
They're talking about me the next day because I was snoring or something. Like, who's this guy who came in our room and snored all night?
Okay, well that makes me a little bit more comfortable with it.
Yeah, it's Baltimore. Just book it.
Yeah, just go to the game, right?
Go to the game, go eat, go out and listen to, go out one night.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think you got this right. This is an important occasion. You've now this should be marked in the history books. Speaking of history books, Matt, any important events this month in history that we should know about before we go out?
Yeah, my takeaway was that Obama is an August baby.
August baby Obama.
61, early August.
What's that make him, what's his sign, man?
I don't know about signs. I never know about signs.
Have you ever met a girl that's really into signs?
Probably.
They're kind of fun.
Yeah.
They really think like your entire like personality is shaped.
They read in the magazine. I'm a twin. And my brother and I are very similar, but we're very different. So that fly. Even if I thought it's out the window. I am stubborn.
What date was he born?
He was August 4th, 1961.
He's a Leo.
And then Woodstock. We talked about Woodstock. The original Woodstock happened in August in 1969.
Damn, that would have been cool to go to. That can't happen ever again, and we've seen why with Woodstock '99.
I mean, I think I would rather, with the music and I would rather go to the 99 one than the 69, but it would be cool to go and
no.
I think like
that 99 one. Like, what? Wait a second. Did you hear about the 99 one happening?
Oh
Did
yeah, I
it
knew.
cross your mind to go?
I wasn't traveling for music like that, but I thought it would be cool to go. And they were going to do another one. They were going to do another one. Actually, it wasn't the one with Miley Cyrus. It was Miley.
Woodstock 2029.
I think it was 2019. Yeah, Woodstock 50. There was supposed to be a 50th anniversary. I'm surprised they didn't talk about that. That should be a documentary because they had it scheduled, the 50th anniversary of Woodstock in 2019, so 3 years ago, and then it just didn't happen. I mean, it was close too. It's not. It got canceled a few times, which was weird, but it was the right thing to do, obviously, because it would have been either another Woodstock 99 or Fire Festival. So that someone had the smarts to do it, even though I'm sure a ton of money was spent and legal fees. But Miley Cyrus was supposed to be the headliner.
Weird.
And I'm wondering why they didn't mention anything about that.
Huh. Do you think there'll be another one?
Oh, I think so. They'll find.
There's no really like anniversaries for it.
Well, do you have to call it Woodstock? I guess it could be like similar, I don't know. I think they should. Yeah, I think they'll try another one. It's a very, very small margin for what could have made that a great festival and to what it was. I don't think it was a huge margin.
Yeah, just clean up the trash.
Yeah.
And don't have it on a tarmac.
Yeah, that was
field. That was another takeaway. The field was key in the success of the first one.
Yeah.
Have it when you involve any sort of hard material and cement or stuff like that. That to me encourages violence because it's hard.
Well, the heat.
There's sharp objects around.
Well, my friend has a piece of the wall from yeah, I'll send it. I'll send you a copy. It's pretty awesome. He's the one who was there. He thinks his voice. Water, and this is a very sticking point for me with events. Water should be $2 you should never be allowed to charge more than $2 for water, and that's it. And you know what? You're going to sell hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of water. And by the way, the water costs you $0.25, so you're making $1.75. It's a pretty good markup. There should be a law that says water should never be allowed to be sold for more than $2 a pop, especially at an event. And even if you just fix the water, I think people would have been buying for $10. They would have showered themselves, literally. You bought $5 of water.
Oh, that was disgusting.
No, I know, when they were floating in it. Did you see the video of
trench mouth?
Did you see Vegas? They
had a World War I affliction.
No, it was bad.
Trench mouth.
But don't overcharge for water, and you'll eliminate so many problems at events.
Right. And what if Trump ran and that was one of his talking points? Now, would that sway you at all? He's like, we're not going to charge more than $2 for water anymore.
Yeah, he's got too many bad things. So I can't.
Thank you, Matt Wolff. I was watching the Sunday Punch podcast.
I mean, you're drinking a $6 bottle of water.
Well, I keep putting it in my mouth just because it's like it's just.
But it's crazy to be able to think that you can't provide that. I mean, just literally buy water. It never goes bad. Buy thousands and thousands of bottles of water and charge $2 a piece. If I run a festival, my water is $2 a piece. That's it.
Right. So you fix those few things because people don't mind being crammed together into a sea. So that's fine to me.
Yeah.
That wouldn't work for me. I mean, I wouldn't go because I need to go to the bathroom like once every 15 minutes.
Oh, you're like
if I'm drinking a lot, I have to go to the bathroom once every 15, 30 minutes. And so
I go a whole festival day with drinking and not go to the bathroom once.
Oh, you're so lucky. No, I have to. I have a bladder problem or something because I immediately after 2 beers have to pee.
Do you do it in a cup? Ever in a crowd in a cup? You always.
I don't go to those things because I know of my bladder issue.
My friend goes in a cup. You won't even know he did it, and next thing you know, there's a cup of urine there. It's crazy.
It's disgusting, but it's not a bad idea.
Oh, of course.
I feel like I'd get too nervous around people.
Oh, I have a huge stage fright with regards to going to the bathroom. I can't have someone standing there and be like, no.
No, me neither.
Yeah, I'd be waiting.
I need the partition.
Yeah,
need the partition. Not like the ballpark. Cubs, it's just a trough, and so then there's a kid next to you.
They have that in those are the worst. Like what's
talk about weird.
Yeah, those are the worst. And the kids don't mind. They just drop,
Yeah.
And then you got the guy, the adults will just drop it and they're like leaning against the wall. I'm like, what is the matter with you people? Seriously.
Well, they all turn into animals. We saw that in
Yeah.
Anything else? Hey, what did something happen with Elvis this month?
Oh, Elvis died. Elvis and Marilyn Monroe also died in August.
Elvis would have been dope at Woodstock 1959 if they had one.
69.
No, I know, but like his heyday was 59. So if they had one in 59, that would have been killer.
I would put Elvis. I mean, Michael. I never saw Michael Jackson, so I'd put him at the top of people who have died that I've never saw. Elvis is up there.
And Michael Jackson,
Lennon,
David Bowie.
Nah, he's lower for me. When I make it huge with Ticket Time Machine, I will have my own festival, and it'll be, if you don't have to worry about making a ton of money,
right?
That's what the problem is.
Yeah, but to get the investors to give you that money is they're like, well, we need a certain profit margin.
Well, yeah, but
then you're like, well, and then you're gonna start making bad decisions. And then before you know it, Matt, you'll be like, God damn it. How did this happen? Water's $10 and I destroyed 5 people to get here. And you're like, Adam was right. I made it to the top and I've become bad. No,
it's never going to happen.
I broke bad.
It won't happen. The money, it's not going to make me turn. I don't think. We'll find out. I'm looking forward to finding out.
I hope not.
I'm looking forward to.
Well, if you do that festival, I'll promote it. I got the advertising down. Hey, give me a cart. I'll go around. I'll be security too. I'm multifaceted, multi-skilled.
You're going to be security and selling beer in a cart?
Well, after I promote it, like the people are there, I still want to hang out. So, I'll be one of those guys with the walkie-talkies being like the East infrastructure is down. And somebody's got to go out there.
I don't even know how they didn't shut the whole thing down in the middle of it. Just be like, all right,
never mind.
We're done. We're done.
I know it was like what $180 to get in there, and then to be price gouged, and nothing to be done about trash, and you're drinking poop water that leads to destruction at the end.
I mean, you go to events and you see like the debris and all that, but at the beginning when they showed you them driving through, and it truly looked like a war zone. Which is right? That was a great opener to it. Had a great. It looked like like World War I. Let's go back to the reference. All right, I think that was good. We got a full hour in. I like that. I like having the things at the bottom. It kept us on track. Yeah. And we could do better. We'll figure out the production value better, and but that was good. Enjoy Brazil. When are you going? I'm going August 31st through September 8th. All right, so I got a couple of weeks to reread that marathon thing you wrote. Brasileiro. It's on chicagodondraper.com. You should put when I look at LinkedIn, the article tells me how long. It's like it's a 6-minute read. How minute of a read is that? Is that like a 40-minute read? Well, it depends. So, do you read books currently? Not often. Okay. But if it's entertaining, like the thing for me is I need to be able to read it and not put it down and finish it in like 2 sittings top. So I just read The Go-Giver by Bob Berg. 150 pages. I read it in 2 sittings. If I can do it quickly, but I can't read a book in a month, and I would say give it 25 minutes. All right. It's pretty entertaining. I stand by it. I think it's pretty good writing too. I got to write more articles myself. I'm talking. I got to write a book at some point. I just say I love this because going back, your memory fails you, right? But having this written down, it brings you right back to it. That's the cool thing about it. I had a book that I was, I hope they serve beer in hell, right? You have to know that. I'm sure you read that. I know that, yeah. Yeah, so I was going to write the next book like that, and then I got married, and I'm like, I can't ever put out a book like that. Right. So now I have to think of a new one. But I did write a few chapters of it.
You could write a manifesto and call it $2 bottle water. $2 bottle water.
I could. We'll see. I'm going to think about all of it. I don't have time for any of it now, but all of it sounds great. All right. Enjoy. College football's almost here. Have a good vacation, and we'll do this again.
All right. See you, man.
Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might fly away to someplace they don't know who we are. Now I'm riding shotgun in your car. We drive through the city like explorers going 65. Flowing hair flying across your face. We left on Friday, now it's Saturday. Pressed jeans buttoned up, jeans iron slipping up. Red shoes walking slow, headphones blaring 3 stacks. Sunglasses flaring out, thick watch hanging low. Studded belt pulled taut, 3 stacks on the radio. Friday night, I'm thinking that we just might run away to some place we can be who we are. We can be who we are.